Hi friends, today I am here with Unit 28 of Module D of BFM Liquidity Management. Friends, if you like this video, please share and also comment as it will motivate me, and also subscribe. Objective of asset liability management ALM are twofold: ensuring profitability and ensuring liquidity. Liquidity, which is represented by the quality and marketability of assets and liabilities. Liquidity means it's the quality of assets and liabilities we are having, and this exposes the organization to liquidity risk. If we have high quality assets and liabilities, we will have less liquidity risk. Unlike other risks like interest rate risk, market risk, operational risk, technology, etc., that threaten the very solvency of the bank, liquidity risk is normal aspect of everyday management of a financial institution. So every financial institution has a liquidity risk. Only in extreme cases, liquidity risk problems translates into solvency risk problems. So we can see the definition of liquidity risk. Banks need liquidity to meet deposit withdrawals and fund loan demands. So this deposit withdrawals, we must have liquidity with us, ready cash. So we have to fund these deposit withdrawals and to fund loan demands. Both are funding. Variability of loan demand and variability of deposit determine a bank's liquidity needs. Liquidity represents the ability to accommodate the decrease in liability and to fund the increase in assets. A bank has adequate liquidity when it can obtain sufficient funds either by increasing liabilities or by converting assets promptly and at a reasonable cost. The price of liquidity is a function of market conditions and market perceptions of the risk. Both interest rate and credit risk reflected in the bank's balance sheet and off-balance sheet activities. So this refers to the definition of liquidity. Dimensions and role of liquidity management. A bank's liquidity management is the process of generating funds to meet its contractual or relationship obligations at a reasonable price at all times. New loan demand, existing loan commitments, and deposit withdrawals are the basic contractual or relationship obligations that a bank must meet. These are the basic obligations of a bank. It demonstrates the marketplace that bank is safe. So liquidity demonstrates the marketplace that bank is safe and therefore capable of repaying its borrowings. It enables bank to meet its prior loan commitments. It enables the bank to avoid unprofitable sale of assets. So if we have less liquidity, time arises that we have to sell our assets for getting liquidity. So if we are highly liquid, we can avoid this unprofitable sale of assets. It lowers the size of default risk premium the bank must pay for funds. Adequacy of bank's liquidity position depends upon the analysis of following factors. So we have to analyze how much liquidity we have to maintain by analyzing historical funding requirements, current liquidity position, anticipated future funding needs, sources of funds, etc. The factors that may affect banks' liquidity include a decline in earnings, an increase in NPA. If earning declines, liquidity declines. An increase in NPA means liquidity declines. Deposit concentration, if sudden withdrawals happen, our liquidity will decline. Downgrading by rating agency, banks' rating is downgraded, and this causes the customers to withdraw their FD and all, and so our liquidity declines. Expand business opportunities, acquisition, new tax initiatives, etc. So if NPA increases, it causes less liquidity. Less profit, less liquidity. Tax increases, less liquidity. So these are the factors that affect banks' liquidity. To provide funds to satisfy its funding needs, a bank must perform one or a combination of the following. So for this funding needs, our bank has to perform some of these, combination of some of these, that is dispose of liquid assets, increase short-term borrowings, decrease holdings of less liquid assets, increase liabilities of a term nature, and increase capital funds. So we have to use any of these in combination to provide funds. So it satisfy the bank's liquidity. Types of liquidity. Liquidity is the ability to accommodate decrease in liability and to fund increasing assets. Liquidity exposure can stem from both internally and externally generated factors. External liquidity risk can be geography, systemic or instrument specific. Internal liquidity risk relates largely to perception of an institution in various markets, local, regional, normal or international. Other categories of liquidity risk are funding risk, time risk, call risk, etc. Now, funding risk. Funding risk need to replace net outflows due to unanticipated withdrawal. So, deposits within the bank decrease. It implies, if deposit decrease, it implies liquidity risk. So this causes funding risk, that is unanticipated withdrawal, that is premature closure of deposits or non-renewal of deposits, that customers do not renew their term deposits, etc. So fraud causing substantial loss, systemic risk, loss of confidence, liability in foreign currencies, etc. can cause premature withdrawal of deposits. So funding risk happens, and time risk need to compensate for non-receipt of expected inflows of funds arise due to severe deterioration in the asset quality, standard assets turning into NPA, temporary problems in recovery, and time involved in managing liquidity. So as our asset decrease, that asset turning NPA increases, we have to have funds, inflow of funds. Call risk, crystallization of contingent liabilities, that is non-fund based become fund based liability, and inability to undertake profitable business opportunity when desirable arises due to conversion. This is because of non-fund to fund based liability and swaps and options. Many times more than one factor manifest and make liquidity situation worse, and for example, fraud can lighten the position of a bank, tighten the position of a bank along with the loss of confidence of public, resulting in a run on the bank. So this can cause customers to withdraw their deposits, and it can cause the bank, may cause the bank into liquidation if our liquidity is not enough to balance this. This is an example only. Next is measuring and managing liquidity risk. Measuring and managing liquidity are among the most vital activities of commercial banks. When a crisis happens to a bank or a financial institution, the time available for a bank to address the problem will be determined by its liquidity. So if we have high liquidity, we can address the problem fast. The following steps are necessary for managing liquidity risk in banks: developing a structure for managing liquidity, setting tolerance level and limit for liquidity risk, and measuring and managing liquidity risk. So these three steps will manage the liquidity risk in banks. Developing a structure for managing liquidity. Sound liquidity risk management involves setting a strategy for the bank and ensuring effective board and senior management oversight, as well as operating under a sound process for measuring, monitoring and controlling liquidity risk. Virtually every financial transaction or commitment has implications on a bank's liquidity. Moreover, the transformation of illiquid assets into more liquid one is key activity of banks. Treatment of foreign currencies. For banks with an international presence, the treatment of assets and liabilities in multiple currencies adds a layer of complexity to liquidity management for two reasons. First, banks are often less well known to liability holders in foreign currency markets. So, our domestic banks are not known to these liability holders in foreign currency market, and in the event of market concerns, especially if they relate to banks' domestic operating environment, these liability holders may not be able to distinguish rumors. So if some rumors takes place about our domestic bank, these liability holders who are living abroad, so they cannot distinguish if it is right or wrong, so they will start to withdraw their funds from our banks. So this can affect our banks, our bank, and it may move our bank to a high liquidity risk position. Second, in the event of disturbance, a bank may not always be able to mobilize domestic liquidity to meet foreign currency funding requirements. So, at that times, as I said above, as I said before, if that happens, our bank's assets, which is in our bank's domestic assets, that may not be able to mobilize. It may not be able to mobilize so fast to meet this foreign currency funding requirements. So there arises an instability. Hence, when a bank conducts its business in multiple currencies, manager must take two key decisions. The first decision concerns the management structure. A bank with funding requirements in foreign currency will generally use one of these following three approaches. It may completely centralize liquidity management. It may decentralize and by assigning operative divisions responsibility for their own liquidity, but subject to limits imposed by the head office or frequent routine reporting of the head office. Or a bank may assign responsibility of liquidity in the home currency and for overall coordination to home office, and responsibility for bank's global liquidity in each major foreign currency. So this will be divided in terms of foreign currency or in terms of offices, or it can be centralized. Second decision is concern liquidity strategy in each currency. And a bank must also develop a backup liquidity strategy for circumstances in which its normal approach is funding foreign currency operations is disrupted. Setting tolerance level and limit for liquidity risk. Banks management should set limits to ensure liquidity, and these limits should be reviewed by supervisors, and alternatively supervisors may set limits. Limits could be set on the following: the cumulative cash flow mismatches, liquid assets as a percentage of short-term liabilities, a limit on loan deposit ratio, a limit on loan capital ratio, primaries, a general limit on relationship between anticipated funding needs and available source for meeting those funds. Primary sources for meeting funding needs should be quantified. Limits on dependence on individual customers or market segments or funds in liquidity position. Minimum liquidity position to be maintained to sustain operations. So these limits, which are set by supervisors, can also decrease liquidity risk. An example of setting tolerance level for a bank is mismatch in 1 to 14 days bucket and 15 to 18 days bucket will imply 80% of cash flow. That is what it is given in this example. To manage, that is small, this small time bucket will cause 80% of cash flow. To manage mismatch levels so as to avoid wide liquidity gaps, residual maturity profile of assets and liabilities will be such that mismatch level for time bucket of 1 to 14 and 15 to 20 days remains around 80% of cash outflows in each time bucket. To manage liquidity and remain solvent by maintaining short-term cumulative gap up to 1 year at 15% total outflow of funds. Next is measuring and managing liquidity risk. Measuring and manage liquidity means managing funding requirement can be of two approaches: stock approach and flow approach. Stock approach consists of different ratios, and we have to look on these ratios to manage liquidity. So we can go to stock approach to measure liquidity. Stock approach is based on the level of assets and liabilities as well as off-balance sheet exposures on a particular date. Following ratios are calculated to assess liquidity position of a bank. Ratio core deposit to total assets. Core deposit to total asset, higher the ratio, the better it is. So if deposit increases than total assets, it is good. It is because core deposits are treated as stable source of liquidity. Core deposit will constitute deposit from public in normal course of business. So public deposit is core deposit. If it increases, it will increase our liquidity. Net loans to total deposit ratio. So net loans by total deposit, it reflects the ratio of loans to public for loan losses and interest suspense account. It reflects the ratio of loans to public deposit or core deposit. So out of the core deposit, how much we are giving as loans is implied by this ratio, and total loans in this ratio represent net advance after deduction of provision for loan losses and interest expense account. Loan is treated to be as less liquid assets, and therefore lower the ratio, better it is. So in decreasing the number of loans, it is better. Ratio of time deposit to total deposit. Time deposit by total, that is time deposit provide a stable level of liquidity and negligible volatility, therefore higher the ratio, better it is. So increase in time deposit, FD, is better. Ratio volatile liabilities total, that is volatile liabilities like market borrowings are to be assessed and compared with the total asset. So lower the ratio, better it is. Ratio short term liabilities liquidity to liquid assets. Short term liabilities are required to be redeemed at the earliest, therefore they will require ready liquid assets to meet the liability. So short term liability has to be met by ready liquid assets. It's expected to be lower in the interest of liquidity. That is short for liquid assets should increase. Ratio of liquid assets to total assets. Higher level of liquid assets in total assets will ensure better liquidity. Therefore higher the ratio, better it is. Liquid assets includes bank balance, money at call and short notice, interbank placement due to within 1 month, securities held for trading and available for sale with a ready market. Ratio short term liabilities to total assets. Short term liabilities by total assets may include balance in current account. Short term liabilities include balance in current account, volatile portion of savings account, leaving behind core portion of savings which is constantly maintained, and deposit maturing within a short period of 1 month. A lower ratio, better it is. Ratio of prime asset to total asset. Prime asset may include cash balance with the bank and balance with the banks including central bank, which can be withdrawn at any time without any notice, and the more higher the ratio, the better it is. Ratio of market liabilities to total asset. Market liabilities may include money market borrowings, interbank liabilities repayable within a short period. Lower the ratio, better it is. So these are the stock approaches. Next is flow approach of measuring and managing liquidity. So the framework for assessing and managing bank liquidity through flow approach has three major dimensions: measuring and managing net funding requirement, managing market access, and contingency planning. Measuring and managing net funding requirements has these four aspects: maturity data, alternative scenarios, measuring liquidity over the chosen time frame, assumptions used in determining cash flows. Maturity ladder. Maturity ladder should be used to compare bank's future cash inflow to its future cash outflows over a series of specified time periods. Cash inflows arise from maturing assets, saleable non-maturing assets, and established credit lines that can be tapped. Cash outflows include liabilities falling due and contingent liabilities, especially committed lines of credit that can be draw down. Second is alternative scenario. This involves evaluating whether a bank has sufficient liquidity and depends in a large measure on the behavior of cash flows under different conditions. Analyzing liquidity thus entails laying out what if scenarios. There may be three scenarios: general market condition, bank specific crisis, general market crisis. General market conditions, a going concern scenario, establish a benchmark for normal business behavior of balance sheet related cash flows in the ordinary course of business at a bank. So this deals with the ordinary course of business of a bank. Bank specific crisis. Assessing liquidity under second scenario is liquidity crisis. A liquidity crisis at an individual bank that remains confined to that bank provides one type of worst case benchmark, that is bank specific crisis. This is general and this is each bank specific. Third one is measuring liquidity over the chosen time frame. Evolution of a bank's liquidity profile under one or more scenarios can be tabulated or portrayed graphically by accumulating the balance of expected cash inflows and cash outflows at a several time points. So this is graphical measurement of liquidity. Contingency planning. A bank's ability to withstand a net funding requirement in a bank-specific or general market liquidity crisis can also depend on the caliber of its formal contingency plans. If the contingency plan should address two major questions: does management have a strategy, or does management have procedure in place for accessing cash in emergency? Strategy for handling a crisis. So a bank must have a game plan or strategy for handling a crisis. It have it has some backup. It must have a backup for liquidity for emergency situations. Reserve Bank of India guidelines for maturity buckets. Reserve Bank of India has given a framework for bucket-wise classification of assets and liabilities to be followed by Indian banks, and these are the guiding patterns of all banks. And all assets and liabilities are classified into 10 time buckets. These are given as tomorrow, 2 to 7, 8 to 14, 15 to 28, 29 to 3 months, 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to 1 year, 3 years, 5 and 5. So this has a gap of 7 days, 2 to 7, 7 to 14, 8 to 14, 12, 15, 28 and so on. So we can remember this: half to full, 1 to 3, 3 to 5 and 5. This will be discussed in module B. LCR, funding ratio, NSFR, liquidity risk monitoring tools and so on. This will be discussed in module B. So let's sum up. Liquidity represents ability to accommodate decrease in liability and to fund increase in assets. A bank has adequate liquidity when it can obtain sufficient funds either by increasing liabilities or by converting assets. Anyhow, a bank must have high liquidity. Bank's liquidity management is the process of generating funds to meet contractual relationship obligations at a reasonable price at all times. New loan demand, existing loan commitments and deposit withdrawals are the basic contractual relationship obligations that bank must meet. So these are the obligations, or these are the main funding requirements a bank must meet with its liquidity. Liquidity exposure can stem from both internally and externally generated factors categorized as funding risk, time risk and call risk. Measuring and managing liquidity are among the most vital activities of commercial banks. Liquidity means ability to accommodate decrease in liability and to fund increase in assets. Maturity ladder, comparison of future cash flow inflows to its future cash outflows over a series of specified time periods. Alternate scenario, evaluating whether a bank has sufficient liquid funds based on the behavior of cash flows under the different what if scenarios. So friends, that is all with this chapter. I think this lecture given by me is helpful for you. Please share my videos if you like it. Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Stay tuned for next unit.